All right, what's up, everyone? This is a review of a product, and I don't really do too many product reviews. I kind of just more so tell you how to do things with stuff you already have, kind of DIY stuff, but I don't do step by step instructions because I just don't have the hands and the time to sit there and film while I'm doing stuff. But as you can see behind me, got my toy hauler, got my attitude, and one of the things that is just getting better and better and better is ways to power up your just your toys or whatever you want to use, um, other than gasoline. Now, I'm obviously not opposed to burning gasoline because, well, the stuff that goes in here burns a lot of it. But it does get kind of annoying when you want to have simple things running, ice makers, fans and things like that. That that you don't want to run a generator for, and it gets noisy and stuff like that. Now, granted, when we use that stuff, we're out in the desert, it's noisy anyway. But I'm trying to eliminate as much of that as possible, and we do like to run the generator through the late hours of the night, early morning, because the kids tend to stay up later when they're obviously in the desert. They're excited, and they want to, when they go to bed, they're still wound up, and we're like, hey, let's wind it down, let's get some sleep, we have a long day the next day, you guys are going to ride your dirt bikes, all that stuff. So you want to get them in there, and I don't want them stuck on their cell phones, stuck in their face. So sometimes we'll put on a movie for them, and then they can relax that way. So what I did, and I'm gonna come over. I'm just gonna flip you around. So over here, my trailer did come with a lithium iron phosphate battery. That's what that is right there. And this one, as you can see under the dust right there, is a 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery from Land and Vessel. Now, the cool thing I like about this thing, it has a little gauge here. Oops, dang it, I'm dropping stuff. And it does tell you the percentage that's left. Kind of see that ish. But anyway, I do like that's built on there. These are very, very expensive batteries. I think they're still at almost $1,000 for these batteries, and I'm not trying to go cheap or nothing, but I went ahead and I wanted to upgrade this, and there's really nothing wrong with this battery. It's losing a little bit of its capacity over time. It's 5 years old, and we do utilize it a lot. Like I said, for our accessories and what we want to do in this side of this trailer. So I wanted a little more capacity, but I didn't want to buy another one of these and try to hook it up in parallel with these cells being a little bit degraded. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to buy all brand new batteries, and it's like $1,000 a piece. If I were to get two new batteries, I might be able to get away with one battery hooked in parallel with this. It might not affect the other battery too much because the BMSs are pretty good. They should be able to tell what's going on there between the two, but I just didn't want to chance any of that and end up ruin the cells in there. So I went ahead and gave this company a shot right here. And yes, I do have it on a wagon because it is a little hefty, but you can see the size of this thing. Now, I don't have a reference here really, but I mean, we can do my shaka. Let's do my shaka on there, and my shaka will almost reach both of those terminals. And then you can kind of get a width of the battery, and you can see how they're almost the same length, I should say. The depth or the width is a little bit larger on this one, and of course the height is going to be a lot larger on this one. Now, they both use a prismatic cell design, which is like layers of lithium and stuff like that. They're not pouch cells, and they're obviously not cylindrical cells, which a lot of, like, say, Tesla batteries are and stuff like that, which are really robust. But really nothing wrong with prismatic cells. Obviously, I've had that one in the trailer for quite some time. So this is a 300 amp hour battery wrapped up in this tiny package, hence the mini sign here. I'm not sure how they did that. But they had this early bird special deal on these, and I believe these just came out. So I'm going to give it a whirl. Now, the only problem I have here is you can see the space in this tongue area is a little small, and I can't really do anything sideways. If I had their 100 amp hour minis, I could probably put 3 of them, but then we're exceeding the cost of what I purchased this for to get the same amount of capacity. And you can see the top of this powerhouse box. It does kind of almost fit over that. Almost. It's a little cockeyed, but it doesn't want to go fully over it. And I guess that's fine. I might try to modify this case that's on there. Of course, I'm going to have to get the width a little bit more and possibly that length. And I might try to split it down the middle each way and do an epoxy, some type of poly plate, and get like a sheet of poly from like Home Depot or something like that, and epoxy the bottom and just widen this all, like pull all 4 corners out in a sense. And I might do the same deal with this this lid, and that will give me a little added protection. Now I know that a lot of these batteries, I haven't looked up the specs on this one, but I'm assuming it's very similar, IP65. It could be 67, and the 7 is the designator for kind of like submersion. I highly doubt they rated this to be submerged in water, but the 65 or the 5 indicates that it's dust, obviously dust proof, and it can handle a spray of water or dripping water, and you don't obviously want to shoot like a high pressure hose at this thing, like a pressure washer, which I have a pressure washer hose right there, and spray it anywhere near those terminals and or where you have this seam. Now SLK does have some batteries that are highly rated and marine rated and all that stuff, but I'm not too worried about those. I do want to give this a shot, and like I said, it's not going to be in the elements, so to speak. It should be tucked away in here if I can custom make that box, or just get a similar box like this and throw this one in my shed, because I do have a solar panel in my shed and I kind of want to get things going over there, and maybe have some power back there. And there's my shed, and I don't really have power run back there yet. Another option I was thinking of, instead of mounting it on the tongue over there, is running those wires. So you can see I have my battery wires and all that stuff going through the front part of this trailer and up into, it looks like a couple things going on there, and I have to just look at where all this stuff is routed. I'm assuming that's some type of shunt or something right there, and we got wires kind of going all over the place. So to rewire this thing to go, let's just say up in my cargo bay, I'd have to start drilling holes in my floor. There are some holes already, obviously, and that's for all of my AC wiring and stuff like that. That's my big stuff. That's my 50 amp service right there. So I'm not really sure what I want to do. I hate to drill more holes in the floor for the cargo area, but that would get my battery out of the elements. And but as you can see, we utilize our cargo area, and this is kind of what it typically looks like. Not this messy. We got back from camping. I was throwing crap around the place, but I always carry all kinds of stuff. I think this one back here that's my lubricants box. So we were at the racetrack, and while we were at the racetrack, we were at Fox Raceway over here by Paula, in the Paula reservation, and the kids were ripping their dirt bikes around. So I bring all that. That's the typical setup I'd have going for the desert. I'd have my lubricants. I always have this my bin right here for my half-inch drive Makita. That helps out in a lot of situations. And of course, a box of tubes and stuff like that. I got more stuff stuffed in the cargo area back there. I have a full Husky mechanics kit back there. Sorry, I'm like trying to get this back in here. But I have a whole Husky mechanics kit back there, and it's got your 1/4 inch all the way up to half-inch drive ratchets and all that stuff. You need all those things. I got extra spark plugs in there. I got extra air filters. I got all kinds of stuff that I bring into the desert, and that's my little tiny cargo area. That's all I have on this trailer. So I will try to probably mount this battery on the tongue. But the main thing is we're going to get so much more power. Now, I don't have an inverter. I do want to do something in the future where I do have an inverter, and I will leg off of that the batteries over there and try to put something underneath in that cargo area and mount it on the wall. Makes it a lot more accessible for the cargo area. Now, real fast, I want to show you guys, and I'll just bring it out in the open so it's not so dark. So this is what I currently use inside the trailer. Believe these are 300 watt sine wave inverters. I don't know if they're modified or pure sine waves, but I think I looked online and they're pretty clean for the most part. They got USB ports on there. The kids can keep their phones charged, even though we do have built-in USB ports in our trailer. Right there, I know it's a little dark, but there's our USB port and a little 12 volts cigarette lighter style socket for these. That's why I bought these. I have 2 of these, and I run one inside the trailer currently, back over there, and I just run extension cord up to the TV and the Fire Stick and all that stuff, and it does wonderfully. The 300 amp powers everything up. It'll power up the TV, Fire Stick, charges the kids' phones, runs that little fan if we need it, all that stuff. I might get a little bit bigger one because I do want to keep my ice maker going at night. It's nice to have fresh ice. The only problem is throughout the night that does make a lot of noise when it starts dropping ice. So we do tend to turn that off, so I might not have to worry about that. And in the bedroom, we run another one. And unfortunately, and there it is, and unfortunately, the only spot I have a cigarette, I don't have the cigarette lighter thing over there. I have one right there, and then I run this extension, this big extension cord for the cigarette lighter deal, right? And I run that all the way underneath the bed, the cargo area, and over here in the corner. Now, some people might be like, well, why don't you just leave the inverter over here and run a regular extension cord out of one of these up to your TV so you have that at night as well? Well, this does have a built-in fan, and it does get a little noisy. So I like to have that down on the floor in the corner, and it works out perfect. I've already tested out this setup several times going camping, dry camping, of course, and it just works out beautifully. The problem is we can't do too much because of the current battery we have, and it is getting degraded, so it does tend to dip pretty low. And I'm not too worried about it going too low, like, oh, we can't start the onboard generator, because I do have a mini gen that I always bring out with me to run all the stuff during the day, ice maker and all that stuff, so we don't have to run that big generator. But the whole purpose of purchasing this battery is to just have that extra capacity, and then it leads, it just kind of segues into stuff I might be doing in the future with it. Maybe putting on an inverter on this. I would love to have something where I can actually wake up in the morning and make my pot of coffee without having to start a generator, because everyone knows coffee pots, they use a lot of wattage. They have their heating plate, and they also have the heater for the water, and that just takes a lot of wattage. And I have to turn on the generator every time in the morning when I'm making coffee, and if I'm waking up before everyone else, I upset the family in the trailer. I'm upsetting people around my campsite. So it would be nice to have, and it doesn't have to be a pure sine wave inverter. I can get like a modified and sine wave one. I think it's like Jupiter brand or something, whatever it's called, over at Harbor Freight, and that would work out totally fine. And I can just hardwire that straight into that battery, run it through my floor, and just have it hanging out right here, my cargo area. And I could probably just put it like I probably just put it right up in here, and then run the positive and negative cable right up the maybe behind the wall if I can get back there, or just run it along, put a protector on there, and then have the inverter sitting chilling right there. And then I can come out in the morning and just put the pot of coffee, or have a table right here, extension cord, got my coffee going. But I will do probably a pretty in-depth review. I don't have all the fancy tools and stuff like that, and things to take this down to all the way to 0 and see the full capacity and put loads on it to see what the actual output amperage is before it cuts off. I'm not going to open the thing up or put it in a refrigerator or freezer to see if it has low temperature, charging protection. I'm not going to do all that. I'm going to do real world tests, and I'm going to basically show you the capacity that's left. I'm hoping, and it's hard to tell on this, I might get a battery monitor, because this doesn't come with any Bluetooth and nothing like that. And this is the reason why, more or less, why it's so cheap. But I do have this, and I can pay attention. You could see where it does say your battery's full. And then there's another setting on here, and you can go to volts and your amps, what it's pulling, and of course your battery type. It's already on Lifey PO4, lithium iron phosphate. It's already on that. And that's my solar charge controller. And I do have one panel up on my roof, so this is going to be really fun, really cool. So to make a long video even longer, thanks for watching, guys, and I'm hoping that this all works out. But give you guys a cool idea of how to mount this thing on a tongue of a trailer. If you have a trailer similar to mine, this would be perfect for like a fifth wheel setup, where you could just stick it in the area, you know, just a cargo area where the batteries go. But I don't have that. But I want to try this out and give Watt Cycle a shout out here if everything goes good. But I'm not gonna do anything yet until everything's all hooked up. But stay tuned, guys, and I'll make another video later.